Now to another one and only exclusive, an interview with the Cuban dissident who has been on a hunger strike for nearly 50 days. His name, Guillermo Fariñas, a high-profile Cuban dissident who's internationally known and awarded. He was released from the hospital today after being rushed there after fainting yesterday. Local 10 News reporter Hatzel Vela got a chance to speak with Fariñas personally at his home in Santa Clara over the weekend. And Hatzel joins us now with his personal fight.
And Lori, if you know this guy, this is a tall, lanky man who used to weigh 191 pounds. He's lost close to 50 pounds during the latest hunger strike. He's been taken to the hospital 5 times now, and he says he's ready to die. Asleep when we first saw him in a small Santa Clara home, Guillermo Fariñas barely moved, comforted by a wet towel we're told helps alleviate the constant headache. It's a hunger strike that has lasted almost 50 days now, and one that Fariñas says will only end when President Raúl Castro agrees to end violence against political dissidents and small private business owners. Fariñas says he wants Castro to publicly say he will enforce Cuban laws already on the books that ban oppression against its citizens. He also wants to petition his government as allowed, he says, by Article 63 of the current Cuban Constitution. Cuban citizens have the right to do this, he says, and our authorities should respond. The 54-year-old, known by his nickname Coco, has been on more than 20 hunger strikes in the past. From the time President Barack Obama visited Cuba, Fariñas alleges increased repression against small private business owners. He says the Cuban government is afraid of prosperity, afraid, he says, of entrepreneurs who cannot be manipulated by the government. Since 2008, the Cuban government has made reforms and allowed more private business. But critics say the process has been slow. In Santa Clara, Local 10 saw a significant emerging private sector. To the Cuban exile, he says,
it's hora de que el gobierno cubano deje de tratarnos.
It's time the Cuban government stopped treating us like a piece of meat. To President Obama, he sends this message, a message he told him when both met in Havana.
Él está negociando con un grupo de mafiosos.
He's negotiating with a group of thugs legitimized by new relations with the United States. And members of the exile community as well as dissidents are urging Fariñas to end a hunger strike because they say he cannot and he can do more alive than he can dead.
So that's the response from the exile community. What about from the Obama administration that has been in touch, obviously, with the Cuban government with opening new diplomatic relations?
And certainly that was one of the questions that we asked Coco. We said, have you had any interaction with the American government? He says he has been able to have a conversation, that he has had visitors from the Cuban or the American embassy in Havana, but nothing's happened since, that they are urging him as well to step back and end the hunger strike.
The Catholic Church sometimes steps in. Anything there?
Yeah, we've seen that in the past with other hunger strikes, but he says that he did get a visit from one high-ranking official from the Catholic Church, but again, nothing is moving.
And you said 50 days and counting, right?
That's a long time.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Great report. Thank you, Hatzel.